Good morning, Congressman. How are you doing?
Great, Garrett. How are you?
I'm good. I'd be more happy if businesses here in Tucson and in Arizona could be open. If you don't mind me asking, what's your take on Governor Ducey being silent for a week and having his staff basically come out and say those three options that I just mentioned?
Well, I'm going to tell you that we need to be opening up in Arizona. That's what I'm going to say. I just saw Colorado announce that they're going to open up May 1 everything, right? So that's positive. I think it should be positive in Arizona. Garrett, you and I have talked about this. I trust the American people. I trust the people to be able to responsibly get out there, open up their businesses, and get back to work. But I'm going to tell you this: if we keep everybody closed, if we keep the hospitals closed, you're going to lose some hospitals. If you keep the businesses closed, you're going to see 25, 30, 40% of them never come back. You're going to see more and more unemployed. I think we need to be opening up like yesterday.
I agree with the Congressman, and not to badger you on this. I'm just curious though if you've even spoken to Governor Ducey in the past few days about what his plan is, because nobody, he can let his order expire, but there's no plan as to what that means.
Yeah, no, he and I talked not in the last few days, not in the last 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And my advocacy is always exactly what I just told you. I tell him the same thing. I say, you know what? You want to be a hero? I think you're a hero if you get out there and open this up, because the people, we represent the people, right? That's our job, is to represent the people, and the people are clamoring, I think, to get back to work. I think people want to get things opened up. I think they want to live their lives as normal as possible. And it's not going to be back to pre-COVID normal for a while, but you know what? We can sure make it much more normal than it is now.
I agree. Congressman Andy Biggs is on KNST AM 790. So you mentioned the Democrat governor in Colorado saying we're going to open up. Here's the plan, May 1. Hopefully we do that here in Arizona, if not sooner, but I don't think it's going to be sooner. The governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, is being very aggressive, and he's using common sense, I think. I don't know if you saw the interview that he did on Fox, but he was grilled, how can you open gyms and salons? How could you do that stuff? He said, they sweat, they could take your temperature. And he said, what's the difference if you're in a gym or a grocery store? And made a great point. Nobody's ever taken my temperature walking in a grocery store for the past month.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, the first time I've had my temperature taken and I've actually had a COVID test was yesterday when I went to the White House to visit with the president. Every other time I go in the grocery store, I'm going to go to the grocery store later today. I go and nobody's there but to take my temperature or anything like that. But you know what is happening? People are respecting the social distancing. They don't want to pass this on to anybody, but they also want to get their groceries. They want to go to the gyms. I mean, I went to pick up food yesterday from a restaurant. They're wearing the mask and the gloves. I pay them. They give me the food. Why can't we do that in a broader sense in every business in this country? Why can't we?
And this is after all this data that's coming out, Congressman, all this data showing out in California, it could be 55 times more widespread than they even imagined, which means it's 55 times less lethal. And it means it's been around for a lot longer than we thought. I mean, I get frustrated that I'm a talk show host in Tucson. I'm some guy with a big mouth, but I think I can read these things. And then you have members of government with staffs, and they don't react to the same way that this new news comes out every day about this virus. And that's what's frustrating.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you brought that study up. There's other studies showing that it's more widespread, not just here, but in different places in the world, which will give you a better picture of the denominator, right? Which actually reduces your case fatality rate, reduces your infectious rate. All of those things go down because you finally have a denominator that's more meaningful. But what I'm seeing from some of the medical people is, some of them are like, yeah, this is exactly what we thought would happen. It's nothing. It's serious, but it's nothing that we should end the world on, right? But others are saying, well, see there that it's spread so much further, And that makes it even more dangerous because we had no idea that it was spread so far. That panic mentality is that grips some of these bureaucratic officials. That is problematic. That's part of what's driving this whole thing.
Did you bring up, since you talked to the president, and I got to ask you about all this stuff, did you bring up how ridiculous it is that they are now counting in different states, and the CDC is pushing it, they're now counting people that may have had the Chinese virus, never got tested, never got confirmed, but if they think they had it, they classify them as Chinese virus deaths, and all of a sudden we have thousands and tens of thousands of more deaths because of it?
I'm not going to comment on my private conversation with the president. Just let me just tell you this. I have, I don't shrink back a little bit. I tell the administration what I think of everything, and you've seen me. I've written publicly about Dr. Fauci needing to go and Dr. Birx needing to go. I'm not going to comment on my private conversation with the president, but I will say that I let the administration know what I think.
Man, I wish you could comment on that. And I can only imagine what it's like that you wrote that, and the president has actually come out and defended Fauci after Fauci has thrown the president under the bus several times. Come on, no wink, no nod from the president, like, good job, Andy. Come on.
Well, here's the bottom line. Dr. Fauci really has overstayed his time, I think. For him, he's a hammer and every problem is a nail. And that's what he's trying to do. And I think it's time for him to go. Let's leave it there.
Oh, I'm with you on that. Congressman Andy Biggs is on KNST AM 790. So if you don't mind, if you can lay this out, I mean, the president seems to really want to open up the country. I mean, I guess he felt he had to listen to the medical people with the phase 1, 2, and 3 to get things open. But the fact that he tweeted out to liberate those states, Michigan, Minnesota, Virginia, and others, and he seems to be for people protesting peacefully, saying open up. I mean, what kind of an impact do you think that has on governors?
I think that's really important. I mean, the bottom line is the movement that you're seeing around the country is people willing to get out, engage in civil disobedience, and I say that, and it's really not civil disobedience at all. It's basically redressing or asking the government to redress their grievances. They simply want government to get back within the constraints of the Constitution. And, when you say that, anytime you say what I just said, Garrett, you're going to see on my Facebook, because I said that today, people are going to come out and say, oh, Andy Biggs supports death. And that's the mentality that we're facing. We're facing the authoritarians who want to basically tell you that your life as you knew it is over, and you're not going to be able to restore the economy. You're not going to be able to get out and have freedom and associate and worship and get out in the open nature. And I mean, you got people, if you're playing in a park and nobody else is there, you got Tom Brady training in a park where no one else is there, and you're going to have people want to cite them and arrest them and treat us like we're in some former Soviet Union. And that is exactly the problem that I'm seeing, and we've got to fight this tooth and nail. And I'm grateful the president's saying, look, open it up, and that's part of my being on that task force, is to encourage the president to open it up and encourage the governors to open up.
Nobody else that I see, or not many, I don't know if there's anybody else, are saying what you're saying here, Congressman Biggs. You're using common sense and being bold and not being scared about it. Maybe you can enlighten me. How many other colleagues of yours have the same ideas as you, and are they willing to go out publicly like you and say these things?
Well, I would tell you that most of my colleagues that I talk to in Congress, I talk to a lot of them on a regular basis, and not just the Freedom Caucus guys, but well into the broader conference. They feel the same way. Now, they're a little bit more wary about saying it publicly because, like I say, every time I say something like this, the hit pieces on me they're really rancorous and disgusting and vile. And you know what? That's okay. I live in America. You can say what you want to say about me. So we're going to fight it out. We're going to fight it out, and we're going to make sure that we get our freedoms back fully because we haven't had them. We've had them encroached upon, and we're going to open up the economy. And I trust the American people. We're going to win this thing, and the haters are going to hate. I mean, that's just the way it is, and so you have to tell the truth.
Congressman Andy Biggs is on KNST AM 790. Just a couple of more. I know your time is precious. If these lockdowns, these stay-at-home orders continue, I mean, there's a question about the constitutionality of them anyway. And Attorney General Barr is saying basically, man, these governors better watch out. They're shutting down businesses, and there's really no reason to. They didn't do anything wrong. Would you encourage people after April 30th here in Arizona, if Ducey extends this or anywhere else in the country, should they just open up? Should they have the guts to do that, or should they sue over their rights being violated by the government?
Well, heck, I think that they should press forward and open up now if they feel so inclined. Yeah, and look, I've drafted legislation and introduced it in Congress last Friday that basically is designed to protect these businesses that open up, because you got the trial lawyer groups coming in from California already into Arizona trolling to see if they can go after these businesses who might be open. You should be able to open your business, just open it up without being sued. And so we got to protect that. But man, I'm all in for them opening up.
Well, we have a mayor here in Tucson that has on the city website a snitch page where you can snitch on people that are open and violate social distance. I mean, so what if a business owner says, I heard Congressman Biggs say this and I'm going to open up? And, what should that business owner do if all of a sudden Tucson police come in and they say, you got to close your doors?
I'd ask, what's the violation? What is the violation? Where's the authority for that to come about? Look, I had a car vandalized and broke into when I was in Tucson. I couldn't even get them to take a report, for Pete's sakes. But I tell you what, you do a COVID violation by opening up your business, which you have every legal right, every constitutional right to do, and the cops are going to show up and tell you to shut it down. What does that tell you? What does that tell you about your mayor, and what does that tell you about the authority figures that you have in Tucson, the leaders that you do? And it isn't just Tucson. This expands all over the place, and I'm just telling you that is so antithetical to who we are as Americans that it's just astounding to me how quickly we've acquiesced to that kind of raw power on the part of government.
I agree. Last one, it's phenomenal. Yeah, I've always said people get their house broken into, and 2 days later the cops come by in Tucson because they're so overworked and understaffed. Last one, the president this morning, one of the strongest tweets ever. I have instructed the United States Navy to shoot down and destroy any and all Iranian gunboats if they harass our ships at sea. That's a big deal. That's basically war. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I think the briefings that we have had on it indicate pretty clearly that the Iranians continue to try to provoke and try to hassle and harry, and they want to not just us, but everybody in the region. So you have to be careful. But if the Iranians are going to provoke and try to attack us and harass us, then you can't let them bully us around.
Congressman, I really appreciate the time this morning. Thank you for being an advocate for freedom and business and choice, because we're supposed to have that in this country. And as this continues, love to get you back on to talk about it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Garrett. Good to be with you.